Well, we did a thing. We bought a Tesla EV for our homestead. Now, you've probably seen on YouTube, creators are starting to do YouTube videos about electric tractors and using them around their homestead or around their farm. Now, our EV won't be used around the farm, but it will be used to take us from the farm to work or to town. So our biggest question when we bought the Tesla is, where would we be able to charge? My wife drives the car mostly. She works about 23 miles from home, so that's about a 50-mile round trip. And our closest bigger city is Sulphur Springs, Texas. It's about 10 miles from our house. And even the better thing about Sulphur Springs, it has a Tesla supercharger. And since we're only a few miles from I-30, we have superchargers either way within a short distance. We thought about where all we go, and typically we don't go much beyond the range of the Model 3. And while it may not sound like a lot of fun to just be sitting around charging your car, while you're waiting, you can use the in-car entertainment system to watch things like Netflix, or even better, switch over to YouTube and watch everyone's favorite creator. I also work about 80 miles from home. Most of the time, I'm able to work from home, but there are a few times a quarter that I have to go into the office. So the Tesla will be awesome for that. Even better, my company offers free charging on our campus, so I'll be able to top it off while I'm at work for free. And if it's for free, it's for me. Getting the Tesla wasn't an easy decision. My wife had a 7-year-old Jeep Wrangler that she loved, but it had about 120,000 miles on it, was starting to have a few issues here and there. So we figured it was time to get something a little more reliable. Now, the Jeep got about 16 miles to the gallon, so even a simple trip to work would use about 3 gallons of gas. And with gas being about $3.50, and we'd spend about $10 a day just getting her to work and back. And with a couple of trips to the store and out to eat and to church every week, we were typically going through about 2 tanks of gas a week, which would probably run us about $50 to $60 a fill-up. So we sat down and looked at the cost of charging. Now, I mentioned using the supercharger. Those are crazy fast and works really well, but they're not very cheap. Prices are in the upper 30 cents, almost 40 cents per kilowatt hour. When we're at home, we pay 12.4 cents per kilowatt hour. So it will be very advantageous for us to charge at home or at my work for free whenever possible. If it takes us 18 kilowatt hours to recharge the Tesla when my wife gets home from work, that will cost us about $2.25, and that's compared to the $10 a day or so that we were paying for gas. Now, we've just recently gotten the Tesla. This is all fuzzy math. We'll see what actually happens in real life. I plan to do a follow-up video once we get a little more experience under our belt, so make sure to subscribe so you won't miss that video. Now, what about all those cool Tesla features you hear about? So full self-driving. We didn't purchase that package, but it did come with a full trial period. But to be honest, out here, many of the roads don't really have painted edges, or even barely edges for that matter. No lines painted on them, and even worse, there's potholes everywhere. I think I want to drive myself just to avoid the potholes. Now, I did mention earlier that we are very close to I-30. So the good news is the autopilot, which is included for free, works great. It just kind of keeps your speed constant behind traffic and helping you stay in the lanes. But you'll still have to be aware and pay attention and be ready to take over at any moment. I use it most of the time while driving on I-30. I'm still paying attention, but it is nice for it to be the one doing most of the work. I'm just double checking everything. The lack of buttons is something that really took me a minute to get used to. Most cars are full of buttons, and it seems with more expensive cars, they typically want more buttons to make them look more expensive. More buttons means more features, right? But the Tesla is the opposite. It is very sleek. Windows up, down, door opening, emergency flashers are all buttons. But most other things are controlled within the menu system of the display. Now, to make things easier, you can also use voice commands for most features. You really don't want to be fumbling around trying to turn on the wipers if it starts raining. Just push the scroll wheel and say, turn on the wipers. Well, but there's also an auto setting that will turn on the wipers for you when needed. Now, I had never driven a Tesla before we did the test drive, but I do work with a couple of guys that have them, and I had ridden in there, so I kind of knew what to expect. They did a referral for me. This gave both of us something. I was able to get $500 off the car, and I got my full self-driving trial extended to 90 days instead of the normal 30 days. And I believe they got something too. I think it was Tesla points that they could use for things like supercharging or accessories. I'll put a link in the description with all the details. I'll also put my referral link in there. If you're interested in getting a Tesla or even just test driving one, look at the links in the description. If you do a test drive, please comment with what you thought about it. To be honest, I was blown away when we test drove one. We immediately went home and placed our order. And if you order a Tesla, please comment with what model you ordered. And if you got a Tesla, I would love to hear how you think about it, especially if you've had it for a while. I'd love to hear how it's working out long term for you. Please subscribe so you can see how well we like the Tesla in the long term. Look forward to more videos just like this. Thank you guys.